My name is William Christian, and we're going to talk about the DOD today. So the Department of Defense is the largest federal organization in the U.S. It has the largest budget of about $600 billion post-sequester, and the military budget that the U.S. has is bigger than all of the next 10 largest military spenders in the world combined, including Russia and China. So we have a lot of money invested into this organization. But we also have a lot of problems with the organization. For example, since in 1992, there is something called the Integrity and Efficiency in Federal Programs, executive order under Bush Sr. And what that required agencies to do, among other things, is to annually have an audit, right? So they disclose all their finances, what happened, why they're there, and the reasons behind them, right? But since 1992, the Pentagon has audited not once. So since 21 years since the President commanded all federal agencies to issue an annual audit, the Department of Defense has never complied, right? And the reason for this is because of something called DFAS, or the Defense Finance and Accounting Service. This is something which has a $1.36 billion budget and 12,000 employees, and it's in charge of paying soldiers and generally conducting all the operations of the Department of Defense when it comes to finances. So what DFAS, as it's called, is exactly is it was created near the end of near the end of the Cold War, and what it tries to do is, instead of having, as it used to be, with each branch self-reporting and keeping track of its own pay and all the materials within each branch, what it did was it centralized all the armed forces operations and budget. But the way it did that is it allowed each branch of the Army, like the Army, the Marines, the Navy, and the Air Force, to self-report to DFAS, right? So what happens is, not only do you have now one agency that has to control every organization within the armed forces, but now they all have to report to them through different modes of communication. So you have a very decentralized and fragmented system in order to conduct employee salaries as well as other things within the military. So it's very, very fragmented, and it doesn't work a lot of times. So what happened is there's a lot of general inefficiency. So within this DFAS system, there's over 2,200 different operating systems conducting the pay and things like that, and the accounting things. Computer operating systems, so where they store their information, right? But what the problem is that a lot of these technologies are very antiquated. For example, the main technology that they use, the main computer language they use is something called COBOL, which is a code written in 1959 that only a handful of people in the world know how to read. And actually, they literally lost the instruction manual 30 years ago. So they don't know how to read things, how to read and transfer files, because they don't know how it's written. And they estimate right now there's 7 million lines of code that hasn't been updated and is now corrupted. I don't know really anything about computers.
You can't find one online?
But that sounds bad.
Wait, what do you mean corrupted?
I don't know what I mean when I say corrupted. But that's what the Reuters article told me. I guess that means they can't read it. Anyone want to chime in with computer science knowledge? Corrupted? It says code is corrupted.
Code is corrupted.
That means that it means that the file was probably modified slightly. Like a mistake was made maybe with copying it, so now the file won't work. And they probably can't fix it.
Okay, yeah. So they have 7 million lines of code that doesn't work and that they can't fix. And they literally lost the instruction manuals. So this is a problem because they frequently mess up payrolls for soldiers, and what happens is they mess up payroll for soldiers and sometimes will pay deserters for years after they've already deserted. For example, there's one soldier called, what's his name? One commander in the Navy, his name was Marquis, retired, and then he received active duty pay for the next 15 months, totaling $159,000 for one soldier after he'd left the Army. So there's a lot of accounting errors, and there's a lot of stories of soldiers who can't receive their benefits.
Wait, how many months?
15.
15?
15. 1-5. They can't receive their benefits and things like that, which seems kind of like an individual problem, but it really adds up. Not only that, but in 2003, this man named Schumacher, who was called back to the Army to be the Army Chief of Staff, which is literally the highest position in the Army, right? The computer system could not, because he previously retired, the computer system could not move him from his state of retirement into his active active duty, so he couldn't get paid for the next couple of months. Literally, the highest position in the military took months to get any sort of pay, and then it took even longer time to receive retroactive pay. And then the computer system, because he was taken out of retirement, assumed he was dead and sent his family a letter saying sorry, which was okay because he was home, and he's like, this is so he commented on that, and he's like, it must be terrible for actual privates, right? And what happens is that when people find errors, individual errors, they have to report to DFAS, which sends them back to their unit, which sends them back to DFAS, and then they keep on doing that for a very long time until usually things don't get resolved. So each year it costs $17.3 billion a year to maintain the current operating systems we have within the DFAS. And there's actually literally no way for DFAS to know whether or not they have errors or ensure correct pay for soldiers, according to the Government Accountability Office currently. So there's no accountability, and no one knows how to fix the problem, no one knows how to read exactly what's going on. So what happens is oftentimes there's manual workarounds, which is essentially employees going up to the screen and then looking at the screen and then writing it down, then sending their information along to another agency, and then them writing it down and uploading it into typing it manually into these antiquated systems, which costs a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of time, and oftentimes results in a lot of mistakes. So this costs the Pentagon about $1 billion a year extra, as well as results in a lot of mistakes, such as when they lost from 2003 to 2011 $5.3 billion worth of supplies. Just lost them.
Supplies the money from.
$5.3 billion worth of supplies. So they still haven't done an audit, but that DFAS claims that they have 99.76% accuracy in their accounting system through a self-audit that they did a long time ago. But the DOD Inspector General said, I have no idea what they're talking about, we've never self-audited. And apparently there's a lot of problems within DFAS, which he terms as being a lack of professional judgment.